I am Rafa Benitez, you are watching the Redmen TV.
Anyway, move on. Yes, Liverpool versus Newcastle in the league. It's one of those wonderful Premier League ties that we all look forward to because they're never shit games, are they? Which is probably just completely jinxed it. It's going to be a
Had I said it, yes it would. But you've said it, so we're probably alright.
Yeah, this is just
going to be a cracker this weekend.
For those who were unable to watch the subscribe, I'm sure this week Chris did say at 2-0 up in the derby that this is going to be this might be the derby. Might this be the one where we just relax and enjoy it? 70 minutes to play. 70 minutes. Sorry, Chris. Newcastle, very much the surprise package of last season, but it's not quite worked out as well so far this year.
No, they're not playing anywhere near like they were last season. I don't know whether the teams have worked them out, or don't know whether Bar and Cisse play well together, to be honest.
Cisse's not even playing.
But they scored, didn't they both score in the game last weekend?
You had to come, Cisse came off.
Cisse
did
he,
yeah, Shola Amiobi's been getting the start.
Big shoulder.
Yeah.
I know. I mean, it's weird how people are sort of thinking about looking at Liverpool and saying they've underperformed, but it's strange that Newcastle seem to be avoiding quite a lot of the criticism, at least in the wider sense. I mean, I presume if you're in Newcastle, it's probably panic stations time. He's probably 2 games away from the sack if he's a Newcastle manager. Like,
I don't know. I don't like Pardew, and I have to eat a lot of humble pie on it because I thought that was the worst managerial decision he'd ever done. They were sacking Hatem, who was doing well, bringing him in. Was he at Peterborough? And he was like 3 divisions down.
No, I don't know. He was. Honest answer, no idea.
He was in a League One club, and he wasn't even Championship level. And he brought him in, and I was like, there we go, absolute disaster written all over it, and he fucking did amazing.
Well, everything they did. Alan Pardew comes in, they sell all their best players. Nolan Barton, Carroll, and
Enrique leave. They've got the best scouting network.
Sorry, little did we know.
Yeah, they've obviously got an amazing scouting network. And I
think you pointed. It sounds like it, but I think it was Christian Moss pointed out last season. They got Cabaye, who was playing for Lille, who won the French league.
Yeah, it's not like they fucking unearthed that.
Okay, alright, you can say that, but then to put it into comparison, they've got a boss team funded by us.
Yeah,
you know, they've got a team that we bought Enrique and we bought Carroll off them, and then would you have Ben Arfa, would you have Cabaye, would you have Tiote, would you have Bar, would you have Cisse?
Yeah, I think the Bar thing again,
you know.
But in a nutshell,
you would. But Bar had a lot of doubts about his injury record, didn't he?
Of course, Stoke. He failed the medical at Stoke. Oh no, you can, if you want to go in and microcosm everything about it, and yeah, Bar's a free transfer, but he's got a knee ligament injury that could go at any point, and it's a career ender. And Stoke, he was at, and again, they didn't unearth him. He was on loan at West Ham. Yeah. I mean, and when they got relegated, but he scored goals. Yeah. He was going to Stoke. The medical board wouldn't pass him.
And Newcastle took the chance. Basically,
Newcastle took the chance, but he goes and gets 14 goals in his first season, and he's still scoring this year.
7 this year.
Yeah. I don't know. I think honestly, I think your point of, I think they've been found out a little bit because they were such a surprise package last year. Teams now know what to expect and how to play them. But ultimately, I'd take half of their team to be in our squad, and it would have been fuck Carroll off, fuck the ones we bought off them. It would have come to the same price as what we paid for Downing or Henderson. They had a much better summer of business 2 seasons ago than we did.
I think the issue is, and we said this at the end of last season, was the worry for Newcastle, not for me, I don't give a shit about Newcastle, but the worry was that having spent brilliantly and got themselves a great first 11, how do you then improve on that without spending mega bucks? Because the problem is that you've got to go out and buy someone who's, this is where Benitez fell foul, is he went out and bought a first 11. Now you can't replace that first 11 because you have to go and spend £30 million on a player to be good enough to get in the first 11. What you need is good backup players. How do you go and buy good backup players? It's impossible because you don't really need to spend the earth. So you're going out and you're spending £2 million there, you're spending £1 million, you're spending 3 or 4, and then you've got the weight of expectation of these players coming in. They were never signed to be good enough to take the place of these first team players.
They tried to do it again, haven't they? And again, I think they've had a few injuries. I don't really watch enough of them to comment, but I know Marvo and Obertan have been.
This is another one. Doesn't need a medical. Marvo
have been getting footy this season, haven't they? And they weren't last year. And then the 2 that they brought in, really mad pronunciations. One begins with a B, and it's like Bruligano and then Alma Feltano are like the two fellas that he brought in this summer.
It's like shooting stars. Alma Feltano.
And they're like Uvavu and but they're like the two midfielders, and they picked them up for next to nothing. They were really after a striker as well, weren't they? Which obviously,
which really infuriates me when you, as mentioned, you'd have both. Well, I say both of the strikers that you wouldn't have Big Shoulder, which basically cue a weekend hat trick.
Sammy.
Yeah,
but no, it's that thing. But the thing is, with Newcastle again, it's going right off track to be the Newcastle show, but they know they're losing Bar, and there's a good chance they were going to lose Bar and Cisse to the African Cup of Nations, so they were without a strike force, because you wouldn't really want Shoulder. And
what's Peter Levenkrantz doing?
I don't know, I think they're a really weird one, aren't they? I want to not like them, because I don't like Cashley. I don't like the fact that they've called it the Sports Direct Stadium.
Oh no, it's not now, it's back, isn't it?
It's back to
they're sponsored by Wonga.
Brilliant. But
amazing that,
there's
isn't
a part
it? Not that I wouldn't accept a sponsorship deal off a modern day loan shark if it came up, like, but no, sorry Obi, the interesting point about Newcastle is that as I say, people are not necessarily looking at them and saying, well, why is it not working this time around? It's very interesting because they're 3 points ahead of us. They're in 10th at the minute. Looking at the form guide though, I mean, look at Newcastle's form, the last 6, draw, win, draw, loss, draw, win. In that time, they've scored 8 and conceded 9. Now, if you take our last 6 games, draw, loss, win, draw, we've scored 10 and conceded 7. So in the form, although they won the last game, and obviously we drew against Everton, we're actually in better form by all accounts. And what's mad as well, looking at the fixtures they've played, of those 6, we've played 5 of the same teams in that time as well. We've both played Sunderland United, Norwich, Reading and Everton in that time. And obviously,
did you tally up the points in those 5 as well?
No. Okay, it's exactly the same.
Exactly the same points from
because we've got the same. The form's exactly the same, albeit switched around a little bit. So we're
more in it.
Precisely.
But have they played any of the? Have they played any of the big teams?
Well, yeah, I've just said.
No, I mean, no. You said in the 6.
Yeah, they've played Man United. I actually don't know, but at the start of the season who they've played. So thanks for bringing that up, Aubrey.
No, I just
showing a huge gap in our knowledge. It's not the fucking Geordie Men show, is it? Like
Geordie Men show.
The Mags to Men TV or whatever. Like. No, I just thought that was interesting because, as I say, Liverpool, people are talking about Liverpool being shit, and yet by all accounts, it looks like we're maybe starting to turn a corner, whereas Newcastle are at a similar level.
Yeah,
too,
it's an interesting point. We've played 9 games now, haven't we? So it's kind of like a quarter of the season, and someone said, "Well, you'll be all right. Don't worry, because you've got 10 points. So if you times that by 4, you'll have the 40 to stay in the league."
Was that an Everton fan?
It was an Everton fan. Of
Funnily
course
enough,
it was.
like, yeah.
But it's that thing of like our season, our start. The fixtures weren't easy, and this is where we need to start picking up wins, because we've got rid of an Arsenal, Man City, Man U, and Everton, which we've got to consider is a big game. Not only just for us because it historically is, but also they're a team who are probably going to finish above us. You've got that thing now of like, we've played 4 really big teams. Now let's pick up the points against the lesser ones, and hopefully we'll have a better in the second quarter of the season. We'll have a higher points return. But so that might skew it, our position in the league, because I don't know how many.
Well, we've said that in isolation, all the points we've dropped were all droppable points. But again, I don't know how that compares with Newcastle at all. But ultimately, the thing is, someone said that to me. Said, "That's it. We're this far through the season. We're on course for 40 points." It's like, fucking shut up. Football doesn't work like that. But doesn't work like that.
The point that was said by my granddad after that comment was Everton have only played Man U out of what you would consider to be the top 6. So their massive points total compared to ours is because they've played the bottom half of the league. And
let's not forget, Everton have now drawn the last 3 games, so they're this amazing form.
The timing already?
Well, precisely, that's it, done and dusted. I wanted to actually talk a little bit, we'll go to some stats and some looking at the lineups, but Newcastle Liverpool memories. Now, obviously, everyone goes back to the 4-3 games.
I can't see him.
John Barnes can. Yeah. Barnes. Barnes. Collie Walker.
when you
Liverpool lead, it's stoppage time.
Kevin
Keegan hangs his head. He's devastated.
it was the advert for Sky, wasn't it, for like 4 years after that. It was amazing.
Those games were just absolutely something else, and they typified what Liverpool and Newcastle were in the 90s. They were just precisely gung-ho, attack inside with
When footy was
no question
when
of
footy was a
defending.
happier time. There was no race rows. It was all kept behind closed doors, and everyone knew to be quiet.
There was no tactics.
There was no tactics. We were shit, but we were good shit.
It wasn't, your team wasn't performing. What did you do? You did this.
Yeah.
Come on.
Roy Evans run around in his massive bubble coat with his free strike.
Kenny tried to bring back those big bubble coats, didn't he?
But,
It was a little bit to S&M, that one, I thought, last season. It didn't quite work for Kenny, too old for that. But no, that was the point, wasn't it? Is that Newcastle were like that. They were free scoring, sexy footy and all
that goal was straight with the outside of his boot where he bent it at 90 degrees. Like.
Yeah.
I always remember the second 4-3 Joe, when you wrote down the agenda. Don't know why, but I always remember the second 4-3 more than the amazing 4-3, which was end to end. Because the second one was possible.
So we went 3, we go 3-0 up and then they got it back and then we scored.
The first half of football, it's the best I think I've ever seen Liverpool play. We went 3-0 up, but it should have been like 10, should have been like 15. We absolutely decimated them.
I know there's a few Geordies who watch this like you. I'd be very interested to hear your interpretation of the first half of that game.
If you can probably get it, I don't know if you can get that, but you know, I remember it being that we were that good. And then Kavam just had a nightmare second half, and I trod on the ball.
He's had a fair few nightmares second half, didn't he?
And I fell over a bit, and it got back to 3-3, and it was just completely. It was the other way. It was like completely defied.
Was that the game? Was that the game where the dodgy keeper chance come off of David James? Was that the one where that was invented? Where he fucked it up? Yeah. In fact, actually, thinking about it, did Gavin Peacock play in one of those two
Peacock
games?
Was that one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was in the restaurant this week.
Yeah, that's him, yeah. He's a pastor now. Enough of that.
He's
anyway.
a pastor.
Yeah.
Fucking hell.
In Canada.
Yeah. The Queenie, well done. Damn it. Action man bow ties. No, they're just cracking games. The beauty is obvious that we remember them very fondly because we have a pretty decent record all told.
Well,
in those
the other memory I wrote down was the Judas Cunt hat-trick. You know, where was it at the time I was made.
Was it 5-1 that game?
Keith Archer's only ever goal in the Premier League. We give them that, and then we went and got.
Was it 5 on that game? I always thought it was 4-1. Yeah.
4. Well, I remember that day specifically because it was the day with the Formula 1. Everyone crashed on the first corner. Michael Owen absolutely told it was Ruud Hullit's first game in charge, but it wasn't. I don't think he was meant to just watch it, and then he had to come down at half time to have a word. Givash scored, and then it was SummerSlam that night. Like,
See, I
those were the days.
I remember for totally different reasons. My brother ran over and his head went through a window of a car.
Good days.
And on that note,
good days.
It was not a good day, to be honest. We did well with the win.
Mum and Dad's 25th wedding anniversary that day.
Yeah.
100%.
But
Steve nearly died. Mason, great Chris, really just sat the fun out the room, don't you, like? Nearly lost my brother that day. Okay then, moving on. Fucking hell. Sorry, Obi, go on, it was that was when Michael Owen was just a fucking beast, wasn't he, like?
Yeah, well, it was
the
I'm trying to remember. Yeah, it just 98, wasn't it? It was just after World Cup, so it was about 4 games in or something, wasn't it? It was really early on.
Yeah, it was like
and so he was obviously still riding the momentum of the Argentina goal, and then he goes and gets a hat-trick against Newcastle away from home, and he's just amazing, and you're just like, wow. And where was it? The year they got relegated, did we go there on New Year's Day or Boxing Day and absolutely dicked them?
I think it was
Rafa was in charge.
We beat them 3-0.
But it was the most 3-0 was like
comfortable.
It could have been so many more.
With the 3-5-2 no less. Thank you very much, David.
But,
Plan B in action.
So we've seemed to do well against them.
I just love those games because what I like about Newcastle is and it's what I like about their fans as well is they like good footy and they like and what Newcastle do is that you never worry about Newcastle coming and parking the bus.
Yeah.
You know they'll come and try and go toe to toe with you, and to be honest, I love when teams come to Anfield and go toe to toe because we can't beat teams at Anfield.
Because historically we're not very good at park against teams you park the bus. So please come toe to toe and let us win.
Yeah, basically. Like, so now hopefully they go. It pans out a little bit more like
what
that.
What was the result last year? Having a complete mental block.
Fuck, I wrote this down. We won 3-1 at Anfield. Yes. Thank you, Aubrey, for nearly stitching me up, but I was pre-prepared this time. Yeah, we won 3-1 at Anfield. Gerrard Bellamy got 2 and Agger scored an own goal.
Yeah.
Don't remember the game. Oh, yes, I do. In fact, I remember it because it was the night the Suarez thing come on, wasn't it? Like, you mean, it was either the
actual verdict, the ban, yeah.
Oh God, that was good. It was one. It was one of those two. Here we go. Just remembering things as very well scripted. You see, it was a Friday night game, wasn't it? We had 2 on the bounce. We played Newcastle and we played over.
Oh yeah.
The best time ever to play football. Friday night, finish work, have a few jars, go watch the match, win.
And your dad hated it, didn't he?
I don't get it. All football should be played on Friday night from now on. I have the creed. Anyway, we were looking at some of the danger when you mentioned Papiss, Cisse and Demba. It's funny because, again, people have been banging on about Papiss, Cisse and how, given how much money they paid, Liverpool needed a goal scorer, they signed him in January, why didn't we? Yada, yada, yada. We mentioned he's not been good this season, he's not been playing, he's only scored 1 in the league.
Sorry, against Everton.
This was the weekend. He's got a 31% shooting accuracy, but only a 6% chance conversion, which is, which basically means he'd have been ideal at Liverpool last season.
Yeah, perfect. Absolutely perfect.
On the flip side, because Demba, as I recall, did seem to be out of favour at the start of the season. It looked like basically Pardew was looking to give him the cold shoulder and what have you. But he's basically come in on fire. He's got 7 so far this season, 52% shooting accuracy and a 24% conversion rate. Now I mentioned this on part 1 of the subscriber show, just for a little basis of comparison. Robin van Persie scored the same amount of goals, 7. His shooting accuracy is 4% less at 48%, but his chance conversion is 4% more at 28. So it gives you a realisation that Robin van Persie, we talk about him being this lethal centre forward. Demba is very much in that mould,
They're what do you call it? Clear-cut chances. Van Persie's just better than him now.
Yeah.
Clear-cut chances, Van Persie's 44% compared to Demba's 43%. So they are basically both lethal finishes.
Fucking A. And the other one, a player I just would love to have at Liverpool, Hatem Ben Arfa. Successful dribbles so far this season, 42. Chances created, 12, goals 2. Just to put that into a little bit of perspective, the only player who's marginally like him, say Raheem Sterling for an argument's sake. Sterling's had 26 successful dribbles, so half. Basically, not quite half, but thereabouts. But he's created more. He's created 18 chances, and he's only scored obviously the 1 goal against Redmen.
How many chances did he create? 12.
Ben Arfa 12, whereas I say Sterling's created 18. But it's the dribbles. It's the dribbles thing. You know what I mean? He's so gifted. He's such a talented footballer, and it's weird how he just crept in out of nowhere, and people forgot about him. He got that leg break.
Yeah, because he was boss. I remember we were linked with him a lot when he was at. I think, did we have Leon twice in group stages of the Champions League?
I don't know, was it Marseille? I don't know what's going on.
Whichever team he played for, I remember him playing against us 2 seasons in a row in the Champions League, and he was young, he was like 17 or 18, and he was saying
he'll be Monaco now.
He's the new Zidane, he's the new whatever, they always throw a name in. And then he got a bad injury, didn't he? And then he came to Newcastle, and I remember thinking, it was when Hatem was in charge, wasn't it? And he scored that fucking amazing goal against Everton on his debut, and you were like, how the fuck did they pull off? Newly promoted, no monies, and he got injured, and you were like, that's gutting for them. But
that's what happens at Newcastle. It's Kieran Dyer syndrome, that one.
But then he's come back, and he's a fantastic footballer, isn't he?
Yeah.
And he's the type that you'd like to see our team like us. I don't know whether our new system would necessarily allow to carry him, because I don't think he's the.
It depends whether he's the man behind the front, or whether you're playing wide. Yeah. But it's a shame. Hopefully we can nick him in the summer.
The thing with Bar, and just talking about, he's out of favour. they bought Cisse, so they put Bar out on the left.
And that's when he really...
And then he scored all his goals last season in the first half of the season when Cisse wasn't there. And it was masked a little bit by the fact that Cisse came in and scored all the goals that Bar
They did
scored.
play well together though, because Bar, I remember, was it against us when Bar and Cisse ripped us to shreds, like
yeah,
last
and against
season?
Chelsea away,
Yeah,
and they both got the goals. But Bar just turned provider. And then what happened this year, they tried a bit different, and Bar was either playing even more left or against Everton. He was dropped. And then he came off the bench and he put him central because Cisse just wasn't shooting, and he got 2. And then they've kind of now phased him out.
Then, right?
And Bar's playing very much more centrally. So
okay then, boys. Anyone want to take a stab at how Liverpool are going to line up?
same.
Thanks, Aubrey.
Same as always. I think
Rayner's coming back.
Yeah, no, sorry, Rayner, but then...
I think the news,
Same.
obviously, we had to gloss over the Capital Rumbelows Cup because it happens on a Wednesday and the show comes out on a Wednesday. So I think the news there was Rayner and Johnson were definitely not going to figure.
But
we know that much, which says to me, given how Jones played in the derby, you've got to get Pepe Reina back fit and back in there. And again, what showed, we just weren't the same team without Glen Johnson.
No.
I think Mike said it last week. I think arguably our player of the season so far.
Yeah.
And he's the only genuine attacking fullback that we have.
Question though, Newcastle have obviously got some great attacking players. Do you leave Wisdom in there after the game he had, or do you put Glen Johnson in at right back and leave Enrique?
I personally think Wisdom's better than Enrique at the moment.
I think that there's two schools of thought, isn't there? It's that Wisdom's had a bit of a torrid time. Do you say right, that good job, but no, or do you say just one game, mate? Don't worry about it. I'd give him the next game and then say. But of course, as ever, we film this on a Tuesday night with the Capital One Cup in between Swansea. There's every chance that he will play that game, and that will be the game that he gets his confidence back, and then we maybe switch it back to Johnson. Johnson right back.
Who's Wisdom played against? He started against Norwich. Was that his first start in the league?
Yeah, he's played
So
against
Norwich, Reading, and now Everton. So really, only being exceptionally disrespectful to Norwich and Reading, but no Norwich and Reading fans will watch, so it doesn't matter. He's only really played against a good player.
Can I just say Ben Carr again? If you're watching, he was a Norwich fan as well. Like, but that's just second bench of the season.
But he's only really come up against a top class player then the other week against Everton, wasn't it, Morales? And for the first time he looked like what he is 4 games into his career, because Norwich and Reading didn't really give him that much to worry about.
I suppose though, he had a good game against Anfield. I thought he had his best game for Liverpool against Anfield in the week. So you just don't know, do you? I think there's an argument to be made that it's great having the kids in, but what you want is your senior players to step up, because by all accounts it's great saying Suso and Sterling and Wisdom, but they shouldn't be in the first team. They should be the backup. They should be our second choice.
That was the joke I said to my dad when we were watching the Anzi game. It's like, we're going to bring the big guns in off the bench now, Suso and Sterling. And at the beginning of the season you wanted to get them. You wanted them to be playing in the Europa League to get experience. Now we're resting them because we need them for the league. And Downing and Mourinho, Downing and whoever Sadia are starting. Yeah. And that it's weird, isn't it?
So go on, like this, 1 to 11.
Okay.
You're just going to read the team sheet.
No. just a little bit of guidance. Rayner in goal.
Yeah.
Wisdom, Skirtle, Agger, Johnson. I think this time it's going to be Allen, Shelvey, Gerrard, and again Sterling, Suarez, and I think I'm going to change it. No, I'm going to stay Suso.
Yeah. You just threatened to get interesting for a moment there, and then you just
petered out. I think put Shelvey in.
Yeah, thrilling. Okay, no, if you agree with that, do let us know. If not, how do you think Liverpool are going to line up? Leave your comments below if you're watching this on YouTube. Otherwise, tweet us at the Redmen TV. Score predictions then. Aubrey, how is it going to go against the Manx?
Against the Manx? Manx, sorry. Did you look because he thought it was the Manx? 2-1 to us, I think.
Excellent, Christoph.
3-0 to us.
Wow. Big prediction there.
Okay, I'll have that. I did 2-0. I think we're going to win 2-0. I think what I've noticed is that we slowly but surely seem to be just sort of getting there. I just don't. I think people are sort of expecting that one day it's all going to be like fucking brilliant. Whereas I get the feeling that it's just going to be a slow,
steady build up.
Yeah, you know, like all of a sudden, I mean, and this could go out the window if we get fucking beat. What I'm about to say is completely pointless. But the idea is we're slowly sort of turning the form around, and I'd like to think that we're just going to get just a few solid results.
It's funny because even in being Liverpool, you're saying there's no quick fix. That it's not going to be a quick fix. We're not going to turn our form around like that. But I get what you're saying. I do think we're going to win comfortably, and I think we could go on later in the season to get a few on the bounce where it's these sort of 2-0, 2-0, 3-0s later on in the season.
I think once we get past that magic Christmas period that everyone goes on about, that seems to be the turning point for teams, I think we'll see that. But I think right now, you know, to be honest, another 1-0 would do me nicely. I just think we need to start getting wins. Yeah. I don't really care how we do it, because at the minute, I walked away from that Everton game feeling very much like I did after the Stoke game, thinking like, come on, we just need to fucking win some football matches, because look how we shot up the table and we beat Redden, and we nearly got in the top half.
It's funny though, I think it's all stemmed from the City game early on in the season, and had we have just won that game, it could have been so much different. Like,
I suppose, or it could have just been horrific, crippling weight of expectation, and then we wouldn't have maybe helped. Look at it from the counterpoint. Precisely. Like
the thing I wrote down, just to back up your point a bit, on the comment on the fact that we drew against Everton, which I took before the game, a draw, but we ain't got a win against the big boy this year yet. We ain't got a win. You know, we've got the wins against Norwich and Reading.
Yeah.
And we need. You can't be in this league. Even Wigan and fucking. You know, Norwich will get wins. Norwich beat Arsenal. You need to start getting some wins that you weren't expected to get.
Yeah.
And we ain't done that.
Well, that's the difference. It's like picking your captain in fantasy footy.
Yeah.
You end up picking Robin van Persie every week because you fucking don't want to fall behind.
Because you don't.
But at some point you've got to just have a go at the foe or something, and just hope he gets a
stick crouching and play, roll the dice and hope he gets two.
Good, solid analogy, and far better than my paedophile to a controversial football instance analogy from the sub show. Yes, we'll round that up there. Let us know your score predictions. Do watch this week's subscriber show. We had a genuine bona fide Evertonian in with us to discuss the Merseyside derby, to get a more balanced perspective on what went on and what transpired with those aforementioned controversial incidents. On the subscriber show part 2, we've talked about Sterling and Shelby being put up for the Golden Boy Award, which again is not a Jimmy Savile special place, so much it is looking at the best under 21 players in European football. And we're also now going to go on to talk very briefly about being Liverpool, so please do tune in for that if you're watching this on YouTube. If you're watching on the subscriber show on the website already, then just carry on watching and all will be right.